Hannah.
And I'm Matt and Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas,
where we rank some scary movies. I don't know. Are we talking about them?
We're talking about scary movies?
All right, we talk about your scary movies.
What did you think we would do? Just go, this one better.
We do
Move
movies
on.
here, yeah.
That's absolutely not what's happening.
No, I know.
Okay, so for this episode, we had posted a couple polls on our Instagram stories like, oh, what special feature should we do next? And every time we posted, the winner was lesser known or lesser discussed A24 horror. Every time. So here we are. What we are doing is we are going to be doing, in honor of March Madness, like an April A24. I don't have an A word. That's alliteration. But yeah, the same thing. In honor of March Madness, just finishing.
Yeah, we're near the end. Final Four.
I don't pay attention to basketball.
I know the women's are in Final Four.
But yeah. So we are talking about A24's bottom 8 box office performers from the horror genre.
Yeah.
So
we got very specific here.
So we didn't include movies that were not primarily labeled as horror. Like I've seen Under the Skin kind of counted, but we haven't seen that. And a couple others. We didn't include anything that wasn't like a predominant horror label. We didn't include any sequels like Pearl because that would have been one of them, but I just didn't feel like it without also talking about X. And we cut The Monster and Fabric and The Black Coat's Daughter as they had extremely limited releases and they weren't even listed on the original box office tracking list that I was using.
So we have 8 here that I can go through, but I came up with a single elimination bracket. We seeded the movies based on their critic Rotten Tomatoes score. So I have that here. So 8 teams seeded that way. And if there are any ties between Hanna and I where we can't agree on which one should move on, we'll be going to the Rotten Tomatoes audience score to let the people vote.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's fair. You gotta let the people in.
Sure.
I can't do it by critics because then we would always go to seed.
Mm-hmm. I think it might screw us both over.
Yeah, it's fine.
So it'll be interesting how that goes.
Do you want me to name just the 8 movies and where they're seated?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go through them.
So first, at the 1 seed, we have Green Room with a 90% critic score, which is a movie Hanna and I have both seen before. Number 2, we have Lamb with an 86% critic score. We then have number 3, The Hole in the Ground, 83%. Number 4, High Life, 82%. Number 5, Killing of the Sacred Deer, 79%. Number 6, Climax, 69%. Number 7, Men, also 69%, but it had a lower audience score. And then finally, number 8, Tusk with 46%.
Oh, Tusk. All right. And
so this is a normal seeded bracket, so it's 1 versus 8, 4, 5, 3, 6, 2 versus 7.
All right.
Yeah. To start.
I'm ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each movie from each bracket comp seed.
What are you saying? Each game?
Yeah.
You can say each matchup?
Each matchup, yes. Mm-hmm. The language of sport. Okay. So we'll talk about each movie separately from the matchup, and then we'll talk about how they compare and why we prefer one over the other. Before we discuss the first films in our bracket, we just wanted to share that Movie Rec Monday will now only be coming out on the first Monday of the month. So the next Movie Rec Monday episode that we'll be releasing will be the first Monday in May. Additionally, before we get into it, we have a trailer from the Haunted Moonlight podcast. After that, we're going to get into our first films of the bracket. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Michelle, the host of Haunted Moonlight. If you enjoy spooky things like hauntings, aliens, cryptids, witches, rituals, movies, books, listener tales, and so much more, then come take a listen to Haunted Moonlight. New episodes drop every Sunday and are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Can't wait to keep it spooky with you.
So we're going to start with Green Room, which is seed 1. Green Room is a 2016 movie written and directed by Jeremy Saulnier, starring Patrick Stewart, Imogen Potts, and Anton Yelchin. So, Green Room, we're going to give the back of the box description, and the description is, down on their luck punk rockers, the Ain't Rights, are finishing up a long and unsuccessful tour and are about to call it quits when they get an unexpected booking at an isolated, run-down club deep in the backwoods of Oregon. What seems merely to be a third-rate gig escalates into something much more sinister when they witness an act of violence backstage that they were not meant to see. Now trapped backstage, they must face off against the club's depraved owner, Darcy, a man who will do anything to protect the secrets of his nefarious enterprise.
Does that at all explain also that the club is full of Nazis or neo-Nazis? No. That's hilarious. That's like a huge part.
Yeah.
The club is owned and run and populated by neo-Nazis.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And the box office worldwide was 3,807,503. So, Matt, tell us your thoughts on Green Room.
I love this movie. What about you?
The first time I saw this movie, I don't know if I don't remember the context in which we saw it, so I knew...
Rob recommended we watch it.
I knew, but what were we doing?
Oh, I don't know. It was just on Netflix, right? Yeah, I think we just said we were going to watch it.
Sometimes we end up, being a little buzzy and watching a horror movie. Okay. Because I was going to say, really don't remember my headspace the first time we watched it, and I just remembered it being good. So, having rewatched it for the bracket, I'm just so impressed by this movie. The concept, as just someone who, really enjoys concerts and music and, not necessarily pop punk or punk rock, but emo and other nonsense. I thought this concept is really fun and really scary. I also, it feels real to me.
So
it feels like something that could really happen.
That's what this movie's been praised for a lot of the times, is that when poor decisions are made, they're met with pretty much instant consequences. And a lot of people's complaints about horror movies are lack of consequences for characters, or characters doing dumb things. Scream makes fun of it all the time, right? They're running out the stairs instead of going out the front door. Where in this, when people do dumb things, bad things happen to them. And I think that starts, and this is not a spoiler, but one of the opening scenes of the movie is they perform for these Nazis and decide to perform the Dead Kennedy song, Nazi Punks Fuck Off. Mm-hmm. And immediately you're these kids are impulsive and dumb. And then when now they're in this situation, it's okay, they're going to continue to probably be impulsive and dumb.
And that just it feels so real to me. Honestly, it feels like a decision making that I would have, because I'm kind of when I have my my moral stance, especially fuck punch a Nazi, obviously. Yeah. So I would have a hard time not doing the same thing, honestly. I would literally put myself in the same situation knowing myself.
It's also very punk rock of them. So it's just their lifestyle. Yeah. So pretty much everything they do while in this situation, I think, comes from that punk rock mentality that they have. Mm-hmm. And there's strengths and weaknesses to it. And I think that's what makes this kind of battle that happens play out in a really fun way.
Mm-hmm. I love the performances in this as well. Patrick Stewart, I forgot it was him. And when he came on screen, I was oh my God, Patrick Stewart.
He plays the lead Nazi.
He's Darcy from the plot description. Yeah. So I really like the performances. Again, I feel they're really real and really grounded. I also think the body horror in this, as a horror movie specifically, I think the body horror really gets to me. It's really uncomfortable. When his arm is, there's a scene where
someone's arm is basically hanging on by a thread.
We're going to do spoilers, but not we're going to end up spoiling shit.
We'll try our best not to.
But if we're going to spoil the end of the movie, we'll say spoiler. But yeah, his arm gets stuck in the door and it's it's disgusting.
Yeah. The movie looks great. It's super tense. And just overall a really, really well crafted movie, kind of all facets, narrative, style, everything. The
tension, out of all of the movies we watched, I would say this one is the one where the tension gets me the most.
Probably, agreed.
So,
it's very good.
Yeah.
We would highly recommend to watch. We should probably just cover it at some point. We probably could with this one. It's popular enough.
It is popular. People would definitely listen, but also it is a highly critically rated movie, so I don't know if we would bring anything new to the discussion.
No, I'm sure we could.
Great.
All right.
Great movie. Enjoyed.
So do we go to the next one?
Yeah.
Or no?
Green Room is up against
It's up against Tusk, which I had never seen and I knew a bunch about.
Yeah, we've all heard of Tusk. Let's be real here.
I thought it was older.
This isn't a lesser known.
When I saw it came out in 2014, I was shocked because in my brain it was like a 2000s movie.
Well, Matt, that was a decade ago.
No, I thought it came out before I was. I mean, I graduated high school in 2014. I thought it came out when I was in like much younger.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Well,
tell us about it.
Tusk is a 2014 movie written and directed by Kevin Smith, starring Justin Long and Michael Parks. Back of the box description, much shorter this time. A podcaster named Wallace finds the story of a lifetime in Mr. Howe, a worldwide adventurer with amazing tales and a curious penchant for walruses. So, this is the movie...
Wait, we actually have to spoil this one to talk about it.
This is the movie where he gets turned into a walrus.
There you go.
He's
Everyone knows.
Kidnapped and made into a walrus with surgery.
Yeah, and this movie has actually, I think, some really fun and brilliant moments.
The box office, by the way, is
sorry.
1,887,554.
Sorry, I'll say what I was saying, but I think it has like some actually really brilliant moments. I think the first act is actually great. It's very tense. Wallace is a dumbass, and you kind of love him playing Justin Long's typical like style of character. Gets himself in trouble, and it's like very scary. It's kind of like Human Centipede, like someone being experimented on. But this movie just kind of loses all steam based on writing choices by Kevin Smith.
Yes,
as we go into the final act, where it just kind of the focus is lacking. It's focused on the wrong people. The comic relief is kind of absurd.
Insane.
Specifically Johnny Depp in this. Although I do think Johnny Depp acts well in this movie. I think the character is awful, though.
I hate it so much.
But
I wrote that. I literally hate I wrote like 4 notes on this movie, and one of them is I literally hate everything about Johnny Depp's character.
I will say, when I finished Tusk, I was like, what the hell did I just watch? And didn't enjoy. However, there were other movies on this list that I watched later that made me enjoy Tusk more, because I was like, at least Tusk, like, I felt like had a pulse, or like it kept me moving and alive, where I found some of these other ones to be kind of slogs. But so looking back, like, it's goofy. They swung for the fences, and I think think Kevin Smith bit himself in the ass with just some of the choices he made, because I think he actually had something pretty cool and scary here.
That's the thing. I think it's a really interesting and very disturbing concept, obviously. And like you said, it really does swing for the fences in terms of, like, concept. And
it works for, like, 40 minutes.
It worked. Like, it is scary. It is creepy. Like, it's not, like, obviously jumpy scary, but it's like, Jesus Christ, he is being surgically turned into a damn walrus. But I do feel like him being held captive before the surgery could have been, like, or the surgery could have been more progressive, and then cut out the Johnny Depp storyline. Yeah. Not all the way, but a lot of it.
I don't know how you change it personally, but the everything up into him, even while he's a walrus, like, there's some really unsettling and horrible scenes while he's the walrus that work really well. I think it's like every time we leave him is where the story just comes to a halt.
Yeah. The imagery of him as a walrus is disgusting.
It's really good, actually. Like,
it's disgusting.
Looking back, I'm think of this movie much more fondly now than when I watched it. So.
See, even when I watched it, like, the good things were very glaringly good to me, but the bad is so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think the movie does stay interesting the entire time. I don't think the pacing is that bad until that really long scene with Johnny Depp and the girlfriend and podcast host in the diner or fast food restaurant or whatever. That scene is way too long, is weird. I don't know what the fuck they were doing when they wrote Johnny Depp's character. It's so weird. I feel like they were like, you're weird, just do something weird. That's cool. I think the genre mood shifts were really jarring.
Yep.
And it just, like we said, it just doesn't work. So
I have a question for you. Are we going to decide between these two now and then go to the next matchup?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to say something about Tusk. I am kind of sad that the critics didn't like it because it has to go up against Green Room, which
Had no chance.
it just doesn't have a chance against Green Room. Hannah will both say Green Room's going to move on this one.
Yeah, it's Green Room.
However, Tusk probably would have beat out other movies on this list, but unfortunately it's not going to get the chance to go up against them.
I don't think I agree. I would have fought you on that.
It might have, for me, beat a couple other ones.
Yeah, I would have fought you on it, and critically, like...
Unfortunately...
Or audience-wise, I still think it would have.
Yeah, audience. It has the lowest audience and critic score.
Yeah, it stood no chance.
Which is surprising, frankly. Yeah. So, unfortunately, Tusk is gone, and Green Room is moving on. Exciting. Writing it down. All right. You ready for the 4 versus 5 matchup?
Mm-hmm. What's number 4,
baby? Number 4 is High Life.
High Life is a 2018 film written and directed by Claire Denis, starring Robert Pattinson. The back of the box description is Monty and his baby daughter are the last survivors of a damned and dangerous mission to deep space. The crew, death row inmates led by a doctor with sinister motives, has vanished. As the mystery of what happened on board the ship is unraveled, father and daughter must rely on each other to survive as they hurtle toward the oblivion of a black hole. Worldwide box office was 2,769,756.
Holy shit.
That back of the box description is...
That back of the box said it all. I don't know what else I can say to make that movie sound cooler than that.
What? You feel like that describes everything? It's missing like a very core central part of the movie.
I think that... But no, I'm talking about the...
For a back of the box.
Why I like the movie is all of that stuff right there. Mm. It's a really interesting sci-fi setup with a really... like a great setting on this ship, and overall, like, I mean, it is just about characters like infighting and being near each other and being cooped up on a ship together. And I thought, yeah, that description reminded me of how cool that movie was. So I like it a lot. I just don't know what else I can say. That's how I would sell it to somebody. It's Con Air, but it's not Con Air. Con Air in space.
It's not Con Air. Have you seen Con Air?
I haven't. It's an issue.
Bro.
Close enough.
I have seen Con Air. It's not Con Air.
Well.
I disagree with you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did not like this movie very much. I think it's a middle-of-the-road film to me.
Brutal.
I think the concept is really interesting, and I just don't like the way it played out. I think... like, I wanted to love this. I was really excited because I love Robert Pattinson. I think he's an amazing actor. I love everything he's done. Twilight included. Fuck all y'all. He's a genius. Like, he's so good. But I just don't, like, the writing feels a little convoluted. Like, are they there to study the black hole?
No.
Or are they there, but that's, like, the plot is, the concept, with any plot description, it emphasizes that they're there to study a black hole, and that's why they're sending inmates, because they know they won't come back.
Okay.
But they also say in another scene that they're sending them for experiments because they won't come back. And so I don't know. And clearly they sent dogs on another one. They sent an on this one. Clearly they're doing some like birth genetic baby making testing. And we still don't even get like a very good answer like what that actually is. So I think they're all being sent for this black hole research while simultaneously also having like studies on each ship. That's why they have like, it's labeled as ship 7, ship 8, whatever. So I do think it's twofold, but I just think it's like very convoluted and like doesn't know exactly what it's doing to me. Do you have like a rebuttal to that? Because you look stressed by what I'm saying.
No, I just interpret it as that they just wanted them off planet and it was just cheap and easy to send them there. And then they thought maybe we could also experiment.
That's definitely not how it's set up though.
I thought...
to me.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you how I interpret it.
Yeah. That's not what I saw or what, like when I read about it.
What happens when there's a doctor, they talk to the one guy on the train back on Earth, and he like it basically explains how they were just undesirables, that they were like why that it was easy to just use them.
Yeah, they say it's easy to use them, and they don't know they're not coming back.
Yeah.
So like it's because they are inmates, it's because they have committed crimes that they are sent. I think they want them for this research, so they're sending people they don't care if they die or don't come back. The baby making thing
was just that because the doctor was also an inmate. I thought she was just a freak. Again,
that's why she's there.
I thought she was just a freak trying to make babies. I didn't think that she was asked to.
How would the dogs be doing? Like, that's clearly another study.
Sure.
Is how I interpret it.
But it's also, remember that they have been on the ship for so long in Earth years because of relativity. Mm-hmm. It had been like 10,000 years on Earth or something. So, like, who knows how that...
I interpreted it as, like, interstellar timeline of, like, they're sent to do that research on the black holes or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the data will get back eventually. Doesn't really matter how long it takes, because it's going to take forever.
Yeah.
Like, we all know it's going to take forever.
Who knows if the Earth is still even there at the point in which they leave?
That's true, because we don't really know what timeline the people on Earth are talking about.
That's why it's like it's a futile effort, and it's like very upsetting for that reason, I think. Like the thought of like there's not even anything to return to.
Well, yeah, your world would be completely different. But I just think that like there's a lot of concept thrown in that just like gets a little convoluted or like doesn't stick to me. And I feel like it had a lot to say about the prison system as it exists now, because like we essentially like we don't give a fuck about people in prisons now. And like that's clearly what it's trying to say, and it's trying to make a point about that, as it should, but I just don't think it like it's like a swing and a miss for that. Like it's not really saying anything. And I
disagree, but we don't need to argue about it. I mean, I just get something else out of it, and that's fine.
Yeah. I just like I didn't feel like anything about it stood out to me, and I think they're better sci-fis.
Oh, okay.
And they're better space movies.
Damn.
And there's not that many of those that I've seen, so.
That's funny, because I just really enjoyed this as a sci-fi. I thought it was like a great premise, and I thought it played out really well. I
like the premise of Interstellar a lot better, and some of it overlaps.
Okay, we can't compare High Life to Interstellar. That's an unfair comparison.
Well, no, Claire Denis is like a renowned French writer-director too, so yeah, it's a low-budget movie, so it's just inherently different, you're right, but that doesn't mean that a movie that's low-budget can't be as good. I also think that this is,
Interstellar is like a spectacle, it's almost like a blockbuster, and this is just not.
Yeah,
so that's fine. We don't need to argue about this one. Let's talk about the next one.
Okay, we can, clearly there's a disagreement there, but there's also going to be a disagreement with our next movie, which is Killing of a Sacred Deer. Killing of a Sacred Deer
it's the Killing of a Sacred Deer.
It's a 2017 film written and directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, and Barry Keoghan. Back-of-the-box synopsis is Dr. Stephen Murphy is a renowned cardiovascular surgeon presiding over a spotless household with his ophthalmologist wife Anna and their 2 kids, Bob and Kim. There's also Martin, a fatherless teen who Stephen has covertly taken under his wing. As Martin begins insinuating himself into the family's life. I don't like that word. In ever more unsettling displays, the full scope of his intent becomes... This description is so written like shit. I don't like the word choices. I don't know where I copied and pasted from. Okay. Basically, he's a surgeon. He's like helping out this youth. And then we find out that the youth's dad was killed in surgery by Dr. Murphy. And then he confronts him with the threat of his kids dying.
His family starts getting sick. It's
Your description isn't helping.
No, I'm saying that the family starts getting sick, and he's like, yeah, they're going to get sick unless you kill one of them.
Yeah.
And this is how he's getting revenge on him. It's very supernatural. No, supernatural's not the right word. It's supposed to be a retelling of a Greek tragedy. Yeah.
So in the Greek tragedy, for context, which I don't think you need to understand in like the movie, but it's the context.
Name of the movie, though,
and it is mentioned in the movie, like briefly. But the story is essentially Agamemnon was responsible for killing one of Artemis's sacred deer, and so as punishment, he was ordered to sacrifice his daughter.
Yep. So in this one, it's kill your wife or one of your 2 children, or they're all going to suffer and die. And it's a cool premise. It's a weird movie in ways that I don't particularly like. Like the acting is good. Like Barry Keoghan is good, but everyone's so like weirdly detached. Like it doesn't feel real. Like
I don't think it's supposed to.
I know. It bothered me in this movie. It didn't feel real in the way that they communicated, which I was just like, it felt like we were kind of like nerfing very good actors in Colin Farrell and Barry Keoghan. Like, those two can act. Let them act. No?
No, I felt like Colin Farrell was something about his performance was, like, so awkward. But it's also because I've seen him do, like, a lot more than this.
Yeah.
So it felt like he did not need to be in the role. But I think it's deliberate that they're all socially weird and say all weird shit. Like, I don't feel like this is necessarily in this version of our world.
Agreed, yeah. It's... I don't know. I don't know what it is really supposed to be, but...
And let's be real, this is Yorgos Lanthimos. His movies are weird.
Okay.
They're weird. I mean, I watched, like, Poor Things.
I saw
it's weird.
people saying that this was supposed to be like a comedy, and I'll be honest, like, it didn't hit as a comedy very much for me. I mean, it's like a black comedy, like, so it's like... But I didn't find that to work particularly well for me. I found it to drag a lot as well. And I kind of took nothing away from it at the end, other than, oh yeah, it's the Greek tragedy retold. Like...
I can understand why you would feel like it drags, but I just think this movie is so beautiful looking. I love the way it's shot. You can tell this is like a world-class director making this movie, as much as you might think that the writing or the plot is weird. And so because it looks so pretty, like, I was so down for it. And I really liked it because of that. Like, I just can appreciate some beautiful filmmaking, and it's, like, undeniable with this one.
You can, but you hate Baz. I think that this... I'm saying that because I haven't seen Poor Things yet, but I have a feeling this is a director that just isn't going to work for me. Like, I just don't think I like the work. But then you're talking about how you like Beautiful and you hate Baz Luhrmann, and I love Baz. So
Baz Luhrmann is the junkiest filmmaker. There's a million things going on the screen at once. It's like so cluttered. It's so not upset. Beautiful. There's nowhere to fucking focus your eyes. It's way too much going on, and I hate it. I hate it. The Great Gatsby, horrible movie.
Well, that's not good. Elvis is cool.
I couldn't even
Romeo
look at it.
plus Juliet is cool.
Literally can't look at it.
Oh my god, that's a skill issue.
In a long time.
Skill issue.
Like, my senses are overloaded.
Yeah, it's maximalist.
And
that's a
I just
style.
That's not for me. And
that's
fine.
What I'm saying. That's why I have a feeling that I need to watch more of this director's work, but I have a feeling that that's how I will be. Just not for me.
I liked what I've
liked
seen
Poor
by
Things?
him. I really like Poor Things. Yeah,
I'll have to watch.
He's weird, and I like weird. So,
but
it's very like A24 weird, where they let their directors do what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
and I like that. So in that regard, I really enjoyed it. I think the story is really interesting. I don't think you need the myth to enjoy it. Maybe some people did. I didn't feel like I needed it. And I thought that the ending scene, or like almost ending scene, where spoilers can't choose between his wife and 2 children, so he blindfolds them and himself and just does a circle with the gun and just repeatedly shoots until he kills one of them. Yeah. I loved that scene. I thought it was really tense and interesting.
It's a very tense movie. I think I was just like done by that point. And maybe I feel this way about a couple movies on this list. They felt like they should have remained short stories. Like, they could have been 30 minutes and would have been way more effective. And I feel that way with this one. But I mean, when it is based off of a like tragedy, it is usually shorter, right? So that's me. Do you have anything else you want to say that you like about this one?
No, we can pit them against each other.
All right, well, I'm obviously going to pick High Life, and you're going to pick Killing the Sacred Deer.
Yeah, I prefer Killing of the Sacred Deer.
So we go to the audience on that one, and the audience picks Killing of the Sacred Deer with 63% over 42%. So High Life is eliminated, and the Killing of the Sacred Deer moves on. There we go. Sorry, everyone out there. Cool.
Sorry?
No, sorry if they weren't happy that we had to go to audience. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The audience picked. You can't be upset.
I can't be upset. I'm happy here.
Okay.
My winner.
So, next one is the 3 seed versus the 6 seed. And this one, actually, I was going to say, that was also an upset. Wild. We had our 5 seed take out our 4 seed, so that's an upset.
Oh, yeah?
So, we have The Hole in the Ground at the 3 seed.
Oh, okay. The Hole in the Ground is a 2019 film written and directed by Lee Cronin, starring Sienna Kerslake and James Quinn Markey. Back the box. A woman attempting to rebuild her life is tossed into a nightmare due to a hidden sinkhole in her backyard. That gives you fucking nothing. I'll explain more in a second. Box office, 2,751,251. That is not really telling you the plot, really. Essentially what it actually is about is her she starts to think that her kid is like a clone or something that's not.
Like a doppelganger.
Yeah, that it's not him. And spoilers, skip 15 seconds if you don't want the end of this movie. She's right the whole time.
Yeah. All right. So this movie got an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't want to be mean and like shame this filmmaker. I really disliked this. It could have been a 10-minute video, like, or a 10-minute like YouTube horror, and it would have been significantly better. The fact that this thing went on for 90 minutes, like, I was frustrated. I was like, this needs to be over. Like, there are 3 characters, which that's fine sometimes. I can do 3 characters for 90 minutes sometimes, but this one, it just dragged and dragged. And then it got to the end, and there was this climax where I couldn't see anything. And then it still didn't really end. It just kept going. So I really didn't like this. How did you feel? I think I gave it like a 2 or 3 out of 10.
Yeah. That's rough. I didn't think it was that bad, but
I think I was pissed. And maybe it was because I watched a lot of these around the same time, so I just had no leniency for something that just like dragged as much as this. Yeah.
I watched it first before Matt did. And then Matt asked me a question while he was watching it, and I was like, I blacked that whole thing out. Like,
it was in one ear, not the other.
It's not like it was like horrible to me. I just like, it's not memorable at all because it's not doing anything unique. It's not like the doppelganger thing is not new. And I just don't think it brings anything new or interesting to the concept. Like, even Significant Other, which we watched.
Yeah.
Like, as quirky as that was, he brought something new to it that, like, was refreshing enough that I thought it was fun. I kind of blacked that
one out too, but you're right. There's some cool stuff in there.
I think that movie. This one
just should have been. This one should have been a short.
Doesn't do anything, and the runtime is padded for like no good reason. I think
to get to 90 minutes to be a feeture film.
It was not 90 minutes. It was longer than 90 minutes.
Oh my
sure.
God, was it?
There's no way this was 90 minutes.
It felt like.
It felt like 3 hours.
It was long.
It was like not.
I feel bad. I can't say much more beyond that.
Wow, it really was 90 minutes.
It was 90 exactly.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But like the whole school scene, like there's so much.
There's just a lot of scenes, and like it gets frustrating because you're just like, why is this woman not doing anything if she's this concerned?
Why would you think that your son is a fucking
I don't know.
doppelganger?
All I'm saying is I only remember like 3 scenes in the movie, and I don't know how that was 90 minutes.
I remember the Rattling Bog scene.
Yeah, the school, the singing. It just, I don't know. And what was funny was I was pretty in the first like 10. I was like, we're having a fun time. And then all of a sudden I was like, this needs to be over. I feel bad. The performances are good.
The kid is creepy. He's good.
Yeah, the movie looks fine.
Yeah,
but
the cinematography.
Overall, it felt like, sorry, go ahead.
The cinematography is fairly middle of the road compared to the rest of A24's resume. It's pretty weak.
Oh, there's a lot of A24 movies. So
no, I mean that we're reviewing today.
Okay, yes.
I think it is the weakest one.
Yeah.
Second weakest. Tusk is probably worse.
Tusk is more fun. I'd put Tusk over this.
I'm not saying the movie. I said the cinematography.
Oh, okay. I'm just thinking in general. I would put Tusk over this. That's,
not what I was saying. And I still don't know if I would do that. But, yeah, the cinematography is very middle of the road, if not the second worst, in my opinion, of what we're covering today. And I just wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
83%.
And I just don't get that. I guess.
I don't get it either.
I would give it like a 5 out of 10. 5.5.
Well, I would go lower. 3.
And that's not like, that would not be a positive score in the eyes of Rotten Tomatoes. So I just,
It's just extremely bland, which I'm going to use this to transition because, oh wow, my voice cracked. Because number 6 is an experimental film and not bland at all with a 69%, and that's Climax. And if you don't already know, Hanna will give you the background, but I'll say we covered Climax in our movie rec Monday, so you know that we like it, or I like it at least.
Yeah, we know Matt liked it. I hadn't seen it at the time of that, but I've seen it now.
So go listen to that. But yeah, Hanna has seen it now.
I'm going to give the info, and then I'm going to talk about my first viewing, since people know how you feel. Climax is a 2018 film written and directed by Gaspar Noé, starring Sofia Boutella. A trippy horror musical featuring 20 sensuous dancers partying hard and living their best lives until a batch of sangria plunges them into insanity. It's the back of the box.
To say that this is a musical is silly. It's not a musical. No. There's dancing, but that's because they are dancers.
Worldwide box office, 1,905,109.
All right.
I hadn't seen this before we did our movie rec Monday. That was Matt convincing me to watch it. And then we watched it actually before we decided on, like, this episode concept. So, I was going to watch it anyway. I was convinced. This movie, it's, like, interesting. You're like, how would a movie about dancers be a horror? But it is, out of this 8 films, I would say it's top 2 or 3 for how uncomfortable it can make you feel, if not number 1. It, like, so uncomfortable and tense. The concept is extremely unique and fun. The cinematography is great. The choreography is just wild. Like, if you like watching people dance, like, you'll love that element of the film. And
they're real dancers, we should say. It was 24 real dancers, so, like, they really do a lot of choreographed stuff that's really fun. Mm-hmm. And then it just delves into madness because they're all on LSD, and we're basically just there watching them. They don't want to be on LSD. Mm-hmm. And just, like, bad things happen. And it's very experimental with the way the camera moves and the way it's shot. If you listen to our Movie Rec Monday, basically, like, they didn't really have a script. He kind of just said, make your character however you want, improv. And I love it. I love the way it turned out. I've seen it multiple times. I think it's really awesome. Mm-hmm. And it's funny to compare it to The Hole in the Ground because I feel like they're exact
entirely
opposites.
Different.
Like, Climax is nonstop action, so experimental, vibrant colors, like, just so interesting and fast-paced. And The Hole in the Ground is not any of those things.
It's such a unique concept. Everything about how it's done is great. The cinematography and, like, the shots are wild. Like a 42-minute long take, which is stunning to watch, and it really fits the storyline. Like, it really bugs the shit out of you. Like, you're like, oh my god,
it's exhausting. The movie is exhausting. It's a oneer with an actual, like, thematic not thematic, form and function reasons, I should say. It's not just there to be cool. Like, it is there to make you feel like you're there and exhaust you. Yeah. The way that the characters are.
Which I really liked. I guess my criticism, and I don't know if this is a fair one, so that's fine. Like, obviously there's not that much going on with storyline or plot compared to, like, some of the other movies. It's more about how it, like, makes you feel.
Yes, it's very much a feeling movie. I mean, it's experimental.
Yeah.
It's considered that.
And so that doesn't always work for people. And I do think there were some of the dance sequences I think stretched on a little too long for me. Or, like, the opening scene where it basically introduces you to all of them. I, like, frankly didn't need the first 10 minutes of the movie. I fell asleep, like, 4 times. You
were tired.
Yeah, I was very tired.
I'll say I find those scenes to get better on rewatch. Mm-hmm. I think it's funnier. Like, you kind of know the characters a little bit ahead of time, and I think it does a really good job introducing them, and then you'll understand where they'll be later. So I would be interested to see if you enjoy that more on second viewing. I also love the 15-minute dance montage. So
I think the first dance montage I think is really cool.
Oh, that's an actual choreographed one.
I really like that. I think they're dancing before as they're, like, transitioning into LSD trip. I think that scene's too long, and I was dozing. But once, even though we watched this really late after I'd had, like, probably only 2 drinks, but, like, maybe I wasn't in the best headspace for the start of the movie for, like, paying attention. But once the LSD kicked in, eyes on screen, awake as hell, I was ready. I didn't need to be, like, hit awake again. Matt kept, like, shoving my shoulder, like,
wake up. You were the one that said you wanted to watch it.
And I was into it. The second half of this movie, I think, makes some of the bits in the first half that were a little slow feel worth it to me. So
it's always worth it to me. Yeah, it's also not that long.
It's not. I don't think it's any surprise here based off how we've described it.
Climax is going to win.
Climax is winning. We're
sorry,
both.
Hole in the Ground.
Just, like,
Actually, I'm not sorry. I would never watch you again. I'm sorry to the filmmaker. I feel really rude. It's probably because it's being compared to a bunch of other stuff that I liked more.
All
right. 2 seed versus 7 seed. 2 seed is Lamb, which I just watched today for the first time.
I'm actually surprised that Lamb was the 2 seed in this
86%.
Group.
And
so Lamb is a 2021 film written and directed by Vladimir Johansson, starring Numi Rapace. Oh, I might have butchered that. I'm so sorry, girl. And oh no,
It's Icelandic. Yeah, you don't have to do the names.
I'm
We're not
so
gonna. You gotta look it
sorry.
up. We're sorry.
They were great, but ooh. A childless couple in rural Iceland make an alarming discovery one day in their sheep barn. They soon face the consequences of defying the will of nature.
All right, these are all right. The spoilers. The sheep has a baby, and it's part human, part sheep, and they adopt it.
That's not even like a spoiler. That's like in the trailer.
Yeah, and it walks around. It's adorable. Its name is Ada.
Ada.
And it's the cutest thing ever.
I mean, like, I love a dog in a sweater, so a sheep in a sweater, like, I'm so on board. Worldwide box office, $4,064,302. This film is gorgeous.
It really is.
And part of that's where they filmed it, but, like, it's just gorgeous. Everything they're doing with the camera the whole time is beautiful. The whole movie is set during the day. It's light the whole time.
It's because they're in a polar country, or whatever, a northern country during, what's it called? The summer months, so the sun never goes. Yeah. It's always light out,
and it's stunning. It's just stunning.
Yeah,
like
I forget what that's called, but either way, the sun doesn't set. They're in that season. It's scary, but the movie is not very scary. I don't know why it was marketed as a horror. It's very emotional.
I don't know why it's labeled a horror. I
guess there's like one or two scenes, but it's overall just like a really sad and kind of moving story. I really enjoyed it.
It's really interesting to me because it's simultaneously extremely unsettling to me and the cutest thing in the world, and I love Ada. Like it's weird.
Yeah, it's
like
weird.
I am unsettled by
sheep baby.
By sheep baby being half sheep, half person, human legs, booty and arm, but sheep head and arm. And like that's weird. It's weird. And
yeah, but what about when she
like
wore overalls? That was so cute.
But then she wears fucking overalls and sweaters, and she holds their hands and she knows what they're saying and they communicate even though she doesn't talk because she's a lamb. Oh my god!
I wish I could even explain why this is a good movie. It's very.
It doesn't sound. It sounds fucking weird.
Yeah, I just think it's like pretty emotional. It's definitely about like human relationships with
animals,
like children, and then also human relationships with animals and. Probably how we treat animals versus how we treat people. And like,
it's not going full pedo or like veganism, I wouldn't say, but it does make you consider like how they treat their livestock versus this lamb that they've decided is their child.
Yes, or how we treat, like domesticated pets versus, I guess, again, like livestock, like especially like pigs who are like could be pets like dogs.
Yeah, and it's sad too because Ada's sheep mommy like knows that that's her baby and they took her baby and then they spoiler shoot the mom sheep like it's
damn you didn't have to spoil that one. I guess,
but like I think it's very relevant to the theme we're talking about. Like I just think this movie is doing something like I think the theming is central to the movie. I think since it looks beautiful, I think it has a lot of heart, and I don't think many of the movies on this list of 8 have heart like this.
Agreed.
I think it was the closest out of any of these I got to crying.
It was very moving, I would say.
I watched Matt. I had watched it before him, and I watched him finish it because I thought he might cry.
I mean, it was very upsetting. I was pretty tired today.
I think if you weren't as tired, you would
cry. To be honest,
cry.
I was hungover watching it today. My head still hurts somehow at 8 o'clock at night.
I literally had plans and was like, guys, I'm going to be late. I need to finish the end of this movie, even though I watched it yesterday.
Yeah. Either way, I'd say it's probably worth a watch. It's not a horror movie, though.
It's not.
We're booting it off the list because it's not a horror movie.
Yeah. Right, I really liked it.
Let's start with this next one. I'll just say not moving at all. I'm gonna be mean. I hated this. And this next one is our 7th seed, and it's Men by Alex Garland. This is the movie that made a lot of people on film Twitter like turn on him, which is kind of rude because like he made some bangers, and now everyone hates him after this movie.
Okay.
And you know what? Like I don't hate him, but fuck me, this movie was bad.
Okay, Men is a 2022 movie directed and written by, as Matt said, Alex Garland, starring Jesse Buckley. And the synopsis is, in the aftermath of a personal tragedy, Harper retreats alone to the beautiful English countryside, hoping to have found a place to heal. But someone or something from the surrounding woods appears to be stalking her. What begins as simmering dread becomes a fully formed nightmare inhabited by her darkest memories and fears. Worldwide box office, $10,287,063. Again, to add to the back of the box description, she sees people stalking her and they all have the same face of the same man.
It's the same guy. Like, the kids have his face, and
every man has the same face.
In this town that she goes
the
to,
cop.
all him. And oh my God. I know it's trying to say something about, like, gender and about men basically taking over women's lives and forcing themselves into women's lives and not giving a fuck about, like,
how men have made women feel.
Yes,
if they feel safe.
Listen, we're men. We are fucking tornadoes. Like, and I know that, and that's what this movie's saying. You know what I mean? We make messes and we just move on. It's bad.
Yeah, I don't know if it's...
And I shouldn't say that as we, but that is like the stereotype of men. And this movie just, I don't know. I guess it beats you over the head with that, but it also, like, doesn't at the same time. Like, I was like, I don't know what it's trying to tell me. It just keeps going. It is weird. It has weird body horror for the sake of weird body horror that's, like, not even that good. It's just, like... I don't know.
I think everyone knows how this ends. There is, like, a weird birth scene of all of the different men. So the one man comes, and then
he births out of that man, and then births out of their mouth, and then...
Oh, they're backing up. But it's, like, the train of men leading to the last birth is her husband who died. So... But, like, who needed 10 minutes of birth?
I would be cool with... I'm fine with, like, body horror. It just needs to service something or be cooler than this, and it just wasn't very cool in this.
I didn't think it even looked good.
It just, like... I also think I was just so done with this movie by this point. I was like, oh, you're gonna, like, throw in... You think you can get me with something kind of cool now? Like, no, I'm out already. Because everything else before it just dragged and, like, didn't say anything. It just... I'm not very good at explaining why I don't like movies. I think I'm really good at explaining why I do. So when I don't like it, I feel like I'm just one of those people that I complain about that's just like, it's dog shit.
Yeah. Well,
but I wish I could explain why I don't like it.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me why you don't like it.
I don't not like it.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be a little different than what you're going to say. I think that this movie... Okay, so watching this movie, regardless of what you think of the birth and the plot or whatever, it's undeniable Alex Garland makes beautiful films. He makes beautiful films.
I agree that it looks good. It's just when I don't give a shit about what's on the screen, it's hard for me to appreciate the way it looks.
Totally fine. But it's the same as Killing of a Sacred Deer. Like, I wanted to watch because it looks so fucking pretty. Again, part of that's where they film somewhere pretty. But it's also his filmmaking. The scene in the tunnel. A tunnel's not pretty.
Agreed. He's a good filmmaker.
Can I speak,
Sorry.
baby?
Sorry.
I know we're married.
I was telling you I agree with you,
This is
though.
how we chat, but damn, son. Yeah, just like the tunnel scene. That's not pretty. They're in a tunnel, and the way it's shot is stunning. I think the way it's shot makes you feel a lot. I think the dog was being really annoying while we were watching this. Shout out Norton, our fur baby son, 10 years old, a menace when we watch movies.
He wouldn't leave me alone.
He would not leave Matt alone. He didn't give a shit about me, so I got this, like, lovely time to watch the movie. I think you were really distracted from the things that made the movie good. And so, of course, you hated it. But I think the way it's shot, it's beautiful. The performances are, like, really good. Jessie Buckley is crushing it. It's really moving. Every scene with her reaction to everything is really moving to me. I would watch anything she's in, honestly. And, like,
I like her a lot.
I also think that the scares in this, while there weren't, like, a lot of scares, I did feel tense. And I think you couldn't feel that because you had a dog crying at you the whole fucking movie up until the birth scene. Makes me sound like I'm a bad
dog parent. And we don't know why. He was just...
Matt was giving him toy after toy, pet after pet. Like,
treats.
He had dinner. Matt's giving him, like, several treats. Dog does not care. He's not about it. And you guys can tell from listening to this podcast that this dog is up our ass constantly. He's in the background of every single episode, except for this one so far. Because he's sleeping. He literally doesn't leave us alone for more
You're right. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I just don't know if I'd ever want to watch it again, to be honest. But I'm not Matt Dalton didn't like it either.
So what I will say is leading to, the end of the film is where it lost me. I'm not going to say this is a perfect movie because it's not, because it lost me. I think where it loses me is there's before the birth, all of the men with the same face, the different men are coming into her home. Essentially, it's this really extended break-in scene, but then every room she's in, there's just a different man that she has to force her way away from. I just think it goes on way too long. I think it lost me a lot.
I was frustrated near the end because I was just
and
like,
that's
this
when you
needs to be
finally
over.
were able to watch too, which is funny. I just think it went on too long in a movie that had a pace that worked for me. It just suddenly didn't work for me anymore. And that was really frustrating. I think the birth scene is icky. And that's cool, bro. I don't mind some icky shit. But it was just, so weird. And I just, I
like weird shit, too. I feel like I sound like vanilla.
But I don't know what birth is saying.
Oh, yeah.
I guess, we live in a society where we're, training men to, we're not stopping the pattern of men being men.
Tornadoes.
We're not stopping that by any of our behavior or how we raise our kids or how we treat men in our society. So it's a cyclical thing. Is that what it's trying to say? I don't know.
It feels extremely surface level. Then maybe that's the other issue. Even if its message is coming across, it's not. It's feminism 101 shit, which is I guess also people's issue with Barbie. But that had, I feel that had more nuance. Barbie had more nuance than this movie.
Yeah,
that might be a little extreme. I'm sorry.
I think Barbie did. I think Alex Garland is very clearly a feminist. You can tell with every single one of his movies, but I think they get progressively more surface level as they go. I don't know about Civil War yet because it's not out yet, but his first three, Annihilation. Then comes Ex Machina. Then comes this.
Annihilation feels the most.
It's the most feminist and complex. Yes, I think Ex Machina is much more surface level. This is trying to be less surface level, but is somehow more surface level.
I want to talk about it. We should do Annihilation because that movie has insane metaphors going on. Because it's not just feminism; it's about change.
In Jason Seaman's episode, I said that there was a movie I wanted him to cover, and my hint was it's by a male filmmaker with
Annihilation.
3 movies currently out that are all beautiful, whatever the fuck, and it was Annihilation.
Yeah, that movie has some amazing things to say, actually. So, yeah, this one just weird. Also, naming it Men is kind of hilarious. And I think it's just kind of lame, to be honest. So I'm giving it to Lamb. Are you giving it to Lamb?
At first, when you hated Men, and I didn't watch Lamb yet, I was like, it's going to be so funny when I say Men is better, and Matt's going to be so mad at me. It's going to be the best prank ever.
Men was my second least favorite. Hole in the Ground was my least favorite.
I was like, this is going to be the best prank. It's Lamb, though.
It's Lamb.
I'm so sorry.
All right. So, how that leaves us is Green Room, The Killing of the Sacred Deer, Climax, and Lamb. We had 2 upsets with The Killing of the Sacred Deer over number 4, High Life, and Climax, the 6 seed over the 3 seed, The Hole in the Ground.
Before we get to our next round, which is already the semifinal, LOL, we're going to refer to some Instagram comments we posted and said, what's your favorite A24 horror? Do you have a least favorite? So I wanted to go through some of the responses. I thought that might be fun to see.
This is a commercial break?
Yeah, but I think it's fun to consider what worked for people, what didn't. And a lot of people said things that we are not covering because they are acclaimed. Paranormal in Pennsylvania, our friends at Pep said Midsommar was their favorite.
I love Midsommar.
And
I gave Midsommar a 10.
And they said The Witch was their least favorite.
Well, lame. But
clearly, you haven't seen some of these, baby.
I was going to say The Witch rules. We know.
Haunted Moonlight Podcast said, out of the ones they've seen, Midsommar is their favorite.
Yep.
And they have a Midsommar tattoo.
Of what?
I would love to know what. Haunted Moonlight Podcast.
I hope it's the triangular hut that they burn Christian in.
I sent you those earrings, right? That I wanted.
No.
The hut earrings.
I don't think you did.
They're so funny. It's a TikTok creator I saw.
I don't know if you should wear that.
I think they're so funny. If you know, you know, I guess. Haunted Moonlight. I love you for that. Matt Dalton, the actor who's been our most recurring guest, said Men was a miss for me.
Yep.
Miss in all caps.
He knows. Matt knows ball.
Twice the Terror said Talk to Me was their favorite.
Ellie talked to me.
Scare You Pod said Hereditary was their favorite.
Good pick, also.
Random commenter Kevin says not the biggest A24 fan. I like Hereditary and X. I personally think The Witch is overrated. Not a fan of that film at all. I gotta say to all of you, you're dead to me.
I think saying I'm not an A24 fan is kind of weird, considering there's not Mr. A24 did not make these movies. It's a ton of different directors. They're just a production company. They don't really do anything other than budget. Like, they're just known for allowing low budget and for allowing directors to do. But to be like, I'm not a fan of A24 is silly.
I think I understand, like, to a degree, I kind of get it, because everything A24 is doing something fucking weird, besides apparently the hole in the ground.
Not everything.
A lot of it is fucking weird and experimental.
Green Room's that weird.
I'm just saying compared to, like, maybe other, like, Blumhouse. I'm sorry to shade on Blumhouse, but, like, if you just go Blumhouse versus A24... Yeah, sure.
But Blumhouse is just specifically horror, though.
I know. Do you not understand what I'm saying? Does that not make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. No. Fine, yeah.
Just like the creativity that they allow their creators to have. So I understand being like, weird shit's not for me, so yeah, saying A24 in the title...
I think maybe,
like, no.
But I just think some people have a misconception of what A24 is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Point. It's not the same director over and over and over again.
Mr. A24 made all these movies.
Yeah. And lastly, Is It Horror Podcast said, I'm not saying it's their best movie, but my favorite is definitely Green Room.
Hell yes. Good pick.
They actually did an episode on it a while back, so that's something you can listen to after this episode.
It is horror.
It is horror, team.
I want to know what they said, but it's horror.
They said it's great from beginning to end in the comment as well. So, back to regularly scheduled
Now we don't have to go through all of them, so we can be more quick on these ones, but...
Okay, so what do we have up?
We have 1 seed, Green Room, versus 5 seed, The Killing of the Sacred Deer. Well, my vote is Green Room. I'll just say right away. Green Room is, like, maybe actually a masterpiece. Not to, like, be hyperbolic. I don't think I'm the first person to ever say that. It is a pretty perfect horror movie. Thriller, whatever you want to call it.
Dun, dun, dun. Suspense! Have to agree.
Okay. Killing the Sacred Deer, I didn't love, but I understand, like, why you like it and why other people can like it.
Yeah, I didn't love Killing of a Sacred Deer either. Green Room is just, like, an all-time great. Like, I think if you parse out different, like, subgenres, like, that is kind of in a, like, that class of film. Like, it's the head of its whatever the fuck it's doing. Like, it is number one in this pop, or... I don't know why I keep saying pop. I guess because I listen to pop punk. Number one in, like, this punk rock subgenre of horror. Like, it will stay that way. Yeah. It's just like it is.
I like to see Nazis get beat up. So
punch a Nazi.
So I just, that's all I'm going to say to go through with Green Room. I don't have that much to say about Killing of the Sacred Deer. I think Killing of the Sacred Deer is probably worth watching for Barry Keoghan. I like seeing, he's pretty, and Colin Farrell.
And it just looks pretty.
They're just, like, pretty talented. It's weird, though. It's an odd movie.
So.
And then the one after that, the other semifinal, is I agree. I actually think this is hard, is Climax versus Lamb. That's number 6 Climax versus number 2 Lamb.
This causes me a lot of pain because I think Climax is so unique and fun in its, like, filmmaking. I think Lamb has a really interesting concept. It's so beautiful. But if we're trying to think of what is a better horror movie, the answer's different than what's a better movie to me, if that makes sense. As a better movie, I think Lamb is a better made movie. Well, you can pick
Lamb.
I think Lamb is a better made movie, but I think Climax is a better horror movie.
Is that what we're basing this off of? Or is this
okay. We didn't even discuss that because I wanted to spook you.
I like Lamb a lot. I wouldn't say a lot. I like Lamb. I like Climax a lot. So I'm going to give it to Climax on this one. I think Climax, even if it were horror versus regular movie, I think Climax is the better film. I think Climax is like a movie that takes you around the back of your house and beats the shit out of you, and then but then you still want to like watch it again. Mm-hmm. So really cool movie. Just like nothing I've ever seen before. And it's kind of great. So that's what I'm going to give it to.
And if you go based off audience, it's Climax.
By 3%. Climax 66 audience and
no,
excuse me.
You don't have to read.
5%. I was looking at men. Lamb 61%. So were you going to give it to Lamb? You didn't even make a decision. You don't want to.
I know.
You're refusing. You're just letting me and the audience make it.
That's okay.
Okay. So that's huge because that is Climax number 6 upsetting the 2 seed and the 3 seed. And now we are at...
I feel like a lot of people will disagree with some of these choices, but...
Well, this isn't their fucking podcast. If they want to do it, they can come with their own.
But also, like, it's only 8 movies. It's not like we're putting
which one?
Climax
Do you think
against,
a lot
like,
of people would
The
put Lamb over Climax? Nobody's seen Climax, but that's because they don't know any better.
I don't know if Climax a lot of people have seen Lamb, have they? I hear no one talk about Lamb.
I want everyone to... to be honest... If you were to say, Matt, what should I watch, Climax or Lamb, I'm going to give you Climax every time. I'm going to say, watch Climax.
Depends who's asking.
Nope. They're getting Climax. Because even people aren't... Not everyone's going to like it, but it's just something different that they've never felt or seen that I want them to. So.
Yeah, no, it depends who's asking.
I don't know what I would say for this next matchup.
I want my mom to watch Lamb. I was going to recommend that she watch Lamb. I think she'd like it.
She might
if she
enjoy
can
it.
have the attention span to, like, read subtitles.
So
our final matchup...
We have the little engine that could in Climax, the 6 seed versus the 1 seed, Green Room. And this one's hard. Because I don't know what I would recommend. I would recommend both of these movies to everybody. And I actually think they make you feel similar.
I was going to say, I think that they make you feel similar, and I think it's interesting that they're both films, like, about artists in, like, the music dance industry, like the performing arts industry, in distress. Yeah.
One is much more narrative driven in Green Room, and one is much more feelings driven in Climax. But I do kind of find that the effect on the audience is pretty similar. They're like they beat you up in a good way.
I have a very clear answer for this, and the reason why I'm going to pick the film that I am is because not only do I think the concept is great along with the filmmaking, I think the story and the horror hit me a little more.
And what's that? You're going to pick Green Room?
So I have to say Green Room. I'm
conflicted. I think Green Room is perfect. And I just like love Climax. And I like really don't want to...
Well,
I don't want to.
If this is your round where you're not saying it...
If it comes down to me, I know Green Room wins. No, I have to pick. I can't be a little baby.
Like I was.
I think I have to give it to Green Room, but under duress. And I'm upset about it. This is gun against my head answer. Is I think I have to give it to Green Room. However, Climax absolutely slaps, and I wish everyone would watch it. So... I think we say Green Room, the 1 seed. Boring.
I know. I feel like such a shitbag.
I mean, it had the highest, both the highest critic and audience score.
I feel like such a shitbag going through all of these movies and still picking Green Room.
Hey, sometimes the 1 seed just wins. We had number 6 make it to the semis. That's
I have to say, if Lamb was scarier for me, that would be my number.
I don't think I would have put it over Climax.
I would have. But
Green Room is an amazing movie, and I would highly recommend it.
And I think regardless of who won here, I really enjoyed talking about all of these films. What's funny is people voted for lesser discussed, lesser reviewed horror. And the only way I could think to do that and like put them up against each other in a fair way was to pick the 10 bottom performing theatrical release A24 horrors. And Green Room is fairly talked about, but the rest aren't necessarily so.
You know what we should do? Because it won, we should cover it in one of our episodes.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. It's the winner. We can talk about it. I'm sure there's some themes in there we can get to that someone hasn't touched on.
I don't agree with that.
No?
That's okay. Right. I'm not that smart.
Well, you didn't say anything about me.
Are you smarter than me? I don't know. Guess we'll see.
Well, I think we could talk about it. Either way, it's an impressive movie. I think that there's a lot of like filmmaking things that people could take from it, like lessons, and maybe we could talk about those. See if we're smart enough to pick out some of the writing lessons. Because I know they're good. I know they're there.
Yeah.
I've watched video essays on this movie.
That's why I don't necessarily love to cover things, though. There are a million video essays
There's
on, but
a million video essays on everything. The internet's vast.
True. Well...
All right. Well, congratulations to Green Room.
Congratulations to Ada the Lamb for endearing herself to me so hardcore that I can't stop talking about it.
I will be writing a D&D character that is Ada. So.
Oh! It's gonna
Actually, we already have a character that's kind of that. That's kind of Ruby already.
She is the personality of Ada. Yeah. And she has horns. Oh my god, so cute. Ugh, love. Okay. This was a really fun one. Definitely want to do something similar in the future, but we watched so many movies in the last week and a half. I'm really fatigued.
I am too.
From film.
Especially because a couple of them were bad.
I feel like I need a break from podcasting.
I was so unhappy watching The Hole in the Ground because I was already fatigued.
That's You've just been like grumpy as hell the last couple days. You're just like, I'm so tired. And I'm like, why are you tired? You slept 11 hours.
I quit my job. It was stressful.
Yeah, but...
Shout out Bill.
That's listens. A good thing.
Oh, I know. It was still stressful, though.
So anyway, yeah, shout out to everyone who commented. We loved having your opinions. Sorry that you hate The Witch, but that's actually my favorite A24 horror, and I'm not afraid to say it. Maybe I'm afraid to say it.
You put The Witch over Green Room?
Yeah.
You're canceled.
All right, bye. Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you can find podcasts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannas on TikTok and Instagram for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!